Good afternoon, Ghana. It's 12 o'clock. Time to reach for mobile water. Mobile water, unique in every way.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We're coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. I am Ajwa Tinkrama Domina. Coming up. Chaos again at Ashanti Region Council of State election as police arrest one individual. We'll bring you up to speed with the current happenings there. Also coming up, committee investigating new patriotic parties' best small performance in Ashanti Region completes its work. Chairman of the committee, Osei Chairman Sabonsu, confident of his adoption.
To assure them that after listening to them, they're going to implement their recommendations. Of course, you have to put all the recommendations in one basket. Some of them may have conflict with one another and so on.
Still in the bulletin, Attorney General drops charges against Salifu Amwako and two others, and later.
Initially, we had over 100 cases, but as I speak to you, we currently have around 80 cases still pending in court. And that's why the work from Ambassador towards Insawam has slowed down.
Unresolved legal battles forces stall of a Fankor in Sawem Road project. We have details of this and more stories coming your way in 30 minutes. Remember, the news is live across the globe on citynewsroom.com. Around the country, we're also live on a number of affiliate stations. In the Western region, tune in to Beach 105.5 FM and Sky 93.5 FM, both in Takrady. In Abono region, this is J Life 95.5 FM in Sunyang. In Ashanti region, you can tune in to Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi, Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. If you're in the Volta region, this is Revival 99.3 FM in Tajevu. In the Northern region, Radio Bimbala 91.3 FM. In Upper East, Tanga 93.7 FM in Bolga. And in the Upper West region, we're on Tunsong 97.3 FM in Wa and Jirapa 96.1 FM. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
A very warm welcome to you to the bulletin. This afternoon, calm has been restored at the Prempeh Assembly Hall in Kumasi. Ashanti region as voting continues, and one person has been taken into police custody following a disturbance outside the Council of State Election Voting Center. Despite heavy security presence, tensions remain high. Let's go over the phone lines and speak with the Middle Belt Bureau Chief, Hafiz Tijani. Hafiz, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Ajwa.
Now, what is the current situation, and if you could explain to us what caused the earlier tension?
Okay, so even now, tension is building up because we have some assembly members who have been backed here, and they are being supervised by the police upon entry. So the police officers, both in protective gear and others in arms, wielding their arms, have taken guard at the main entrance of the Prempeh Assembly Hall. They want to ensure that only those assembly members who are eligible to vote in this election are allowed inside the main voting center. So what the party's chairman, Nana Kwesi, is leading these assembly members. So he and other people who came to the venue have been restricted. The police officers are insisting that only the assembly members who are taking part in this election are supposed to come in. But some of the members of the National Democratic Congress want to also come in, and that is what the police is not allowing. So the police now is ensuring that only the assembly members who would vote in this election are allowed in. So far, out of the 86 people who are supposed to vote or who are expected to vote in this election, 27 have voted so far. The process has been slow since it started in the morning. We had information that some of the assembly members were going to come later to take part in this election, and some of them are aligned to one of the candidates, we are told, and that is what we are seeing now. These assembly members have just come. Earlier, what caused the tension was that one person who wanted to enter was prevented by the police officers, so that ensued in a verbal exchange, and he was taken by the police officers. He was taken out of this place, and tension came down, but now we are seeing another tension building up because of the arrival of some of these assembly members.
Right. Hafiz, earlier you mentioned that some individuals who also did not have the permission to be at the premises were prevented from entering. Who are these, and how was the issue resolved?
Okay, so we had the former Minister of Education, who doubles as the Member of Parliament for the Busunchi constituency, Dr. Osei Odichum. He came here. He was not allowed entry into the main auditorium because the police officers told him he didn't have accreditation. We had also the Member of Parliament for Kwadaso constituency, Kingsley Nyaku. He was also denied. We had also the former Member of Parliament for Bantam, former CEO of the EPA, Kobna Kokofu. He was also denied entry. We had also the former Member of Parliament for the Asin Central, Kennedy Japan. So whilst coming, he saw that the police officers were strictly enforcing the orders here. So he told his guys that they should leave this place. So he left. So that issue was resolved by the police telling these people that they didn't have accreditation and they are not supposed to allow to be allowed entry inside, and they complied with the directive and they left.
Very well. Before I let you go, how is the security agents addressing the current tension that is building up again?
Well, so the police officers currently in protective gear have taken guard. The police have mounted barrier at the main entrance. They have locked the main entrance, and other police officers standing in front of the entrance and behind the entrance, where you have a water cannon that has also been stationed here to forestall any or to avert any tension here. But most of the party people are here, from the NDC, chanting their slogans. But the police is only ensuring that only the assembly members who are eligible to vote are allowed here, and that is what the police is doing currently.
Very well. Thank you for speaking with us. That's Hafiz Tijani. He's our Middle Belt Bureau Chief. We'll stay a while longer on Council of State elections because voting has ended in the Northeast region. At the close of polls, Saka Abuba won with 7 votes out of 12, defeating Asabigi San Mulunga Nasamu. Now, the election initially held on February 10 was rescheduled for today after both candidates tied with 6 votes each, requiring a rerun. Here's the Northeast Director of the Electoral Commission, Yao Poku, addressing the media after the polls.
There was a tie. 2 candidates had the same votes, and therefore there was a need to break the tie. Commission subsequently fixed today, 17th February 2025, for the purpose of breaking the tie. So the candidate in respect of Saka Abuba had 7 votes, and then Asabigi San Malunga Nasamu had 5 votes. To that effect, Saka Abuba was declared the winner. So Saka Abuba is now the regional representative to the Council of State as far as Northeast region is concerned.
You heard the Northeast Regional Director of the Electoral Commission, Yao Opoku. Let's stay on matters related to elections. And the committee established by the Ashanti Regional New Patriotic Party to inquire into the party's poor performance in the December 7 elections has submitted its final report. Chaired by former Majority Leader Osei Mensah-Bonsu, the committee engaged party executives, stakeholders and civil society groups across all 46 constituencies over an 8-week investigation. Now, speaking to City News, Osei Mensah-Bonsu expressed hope that the party leadership would implement the recommendations in this report.
I'm very, very hopeful because the people out there who were assaulted, who were interviewed, are insistent that they want to see that their voices have been heard and that we want to carry through. The good thing is that they offered many suggestions as to the way forward for the party, and they said they want to see us do that. So you need to send the reports to the various constituencies to let them, to assure them that after listening to them, they are going to implement their recommendations. Of course, you have to put all the recommendations in one basket. Some of them may perhaps conflict with one another and so on. So you need to do the sifting, and then it goes out there to them, and then we'll see the way forward. So they are eager to even receive the reports.
Osei Mensah Bonsu is former member of parliament for Swami and chairman of the committee tasked to investigate the poor performance of the New Patriotic Party in the 2024 elections in the Ashanti region. Away from that, the state has dropped charges against Reverend Salif Amwako, his wife, and one other person to allow for further investigations. Now, the three were arrested and charged with permitting an unlicensed person to drive after Salif Amwako's 16-year-old son was involved in a crash at East Legon that killed two teenagers instantly. Salif Amwako's son has already been convicted for manslaughter. The state informed the court of its decision to withdraw charges against Salif Amwako, his wife, and a third accused person to enable further police investigations and determine the next course of action. The judge subsequently struck out the charges as withdrawn. However, reports suggest that they were rearrested shortly after leaving the courtroom. Now, the Member of Parliament for Swami John Darko has described the decision to prosecute members of Democracy Hub as politically unwise. Under the Akufo-Addo administration, several demonstrators, including Oliver Barker-Vormawor, an Ama governor, were prosecuted for protesting against illegal mining. However, Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine later dropped these charges. Speaking to City News, Dr. Darko criticized the NPP government for turning the demonstrators into martyrs through its legal action.
Well, we see how all these people come back to demonstrate against Galamsey after the election. But look, as a lawyer, I believe that some cases shouldn't be prosecuted. In fact, not even as a lawyer, as a politician, I think that when you prosecute some cases, you give those people some matter, tag. I'm a governor, and those people shouldn't have been prosecuted. But I think at the time they had destroy some public properties, and one may want to justify it. But I thought that politically it wasn't a smart decision to prosecute them. But I feel that the withdrawal of those cases with these ones is just to show to the public that we are not only withdrawing cases against big entities people.
You heard the Member of Parliament for Swami John Darko. Now, the Ministry of Roads and Highways has attributed delays in completing the Ofanko-Nsawam Road project to ongoing court cases. Initially set for completion in July 2024, the project now faces indefinite delays due to legal disputes that have hindered the progress. Speaking on the City Breakfast Show, the Ministry's Public Relations Officer, Nasser Ahmed Yate, explained that the legal constraints have stalled key construction activities, preventing the contractor from proceeding until all cases are resolved.
The ones around Pokwasi, around Ofanko, getting towards Pokwasi, and somewhere around before Amasamai. Most of them, we've dealt with them. Initially, we had over 100 cases, but as I speak to you, we currently have around 80 cases still pending in court, mostly in the Nsawam District Court and Amasamai Court. And this has to do with properties around Amasamai to Nsawam. And that's why the work from Amasamai towards Nsawam has slowed down, because most of the areas where we need to work, we have litigation, and it's affecting the progress of work. They are mostly individual cases.
All right,
and so it's very difficult for our lawyers. Almost every day we are in court trying to have amicable settlements so that the contract, because as Caleb Koda was saying, once the project delays, and it's of no fault of the contractor, because we are to give the contractor the right of way. That is the employee.
Well, Nasser Ahmed Yate subsequently appealed to those affected to liaise with the government to accept compensation packages in order to ensure the timely completion.
And so when they are litigated, because you need to break the houses, move the utilities to where the houses are or the properties are to be able to work. And so without those things, so we'll appeal. Really, I want to appeal to the property owners. I mean, we are ready to pay compensation. I mean, these prolonged litigation in court, although it's their right to litigate, but they should know that this is for all of us.
You heard the Ministry of Roads and Highways Public Relations Officer Nasser Ahmed Yati. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. Still ahead in the bulletin, President Mahama commits to prioritizing stabilization of the Ghanaian economy for sustainable development. We have details of this and more stories coming up shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
This March, we invite you to splash in the pool of cultural expressivity and soak yourself in the celebration of indigenous authenticity in our Heritage Month. Join us for the Heritage Month launch on Friday, February 28th, as we kick off a month of unforgettable experiences. Pack your bags for the Heritage Caravan, a week-long adventure across Ghana from March the 2nd to the 9th. Discover the beauty and history of our land.
An opportunity to see Ghana in a more beautiful and the people, the connection.
Savor the flavors at the Back to Your Village Food Festival, a culinary extravaganza on March 29th and 30th.
The millet tozafi, the corn tozafi, we have the tubani, we have the wache, we have the dawadawa jollof rice. We also serve the local northern beverages. That's Bito and Zonko.
Taste the essence of Ghana.
The first one I was here, the second one I was here, the third one I was here, this one and the fourth one. And it's not just a bazaar, it's a festival now. And I'm so excited because this is what we should be doing.
Tune in to the Heritage On Air series on 97.3 Citi FM and Channel 1 TV. Each week, delve into what makes us Ghanaians.
Owusu is a general account name. It's Dev's character. Owusu. So that is why the appellation is Owusu Eduam. You see, when an Asante is Eduam, it means something that belongs to him. So Dev's character, he comes to you and grab you as if it belongs to him.
Explore our places of interest, feel the rhythm of our music, journey through our religious history, and indulge in indigenous Ghanaian food. Join us to celebrate our heritage this Heritage Month, where every moment is a story. Only on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM.
Let's Mensa Saba, background, Sagin Ajete, and all who.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Welcome back to the bulletin. President John Dramani Mahama says his government's priority is to stabilize Ghana's economy for sustainable development. Speaking at the ongoing Africa Business Forum 2025 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, he outlined efforts to address the depreciation of the cedi, reduce inflation, lower interest rates, and manage Ghana's growing debt. Now, the forum, organized by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, is themed Moving from Potential to Prosperity, Activating Africa's Regional Value Chain. President Mahama also highlighted the need to understand the factors behind Ghana's economic crisis and shared key measures his government is implementing, including a comprehensive debt management plan.
In a crisis, the first thing you do is to focus on stabilizing, and so that's what we're focused on. Bringing interest rates down, bringing inflation down, stabilizing the currency, dealing with the debt overhang, and that's where our focus is for now. But at the same time, to analyze the factors that got Ghana in the first place and put in the steps that ensure that we don't end up here again. And so that would entail looking at the Fiscal Responsibility Act and strengthening it, looking at the Public Financial Management Act and strengthening it, so that tomorrow we don't have a situation where a minister, goes onto the Eurobond market and borrows 11.5 billion over 5 years and puts most of it into consumption. Those are some of the things we need to look at. We need to look at our debt management department and strengthen it so that it's able to provide information to the public on what our debt trajectory is and keep it below a certain ceiling. We need to introduce an independent value for money office so that we're making sure that our projects are coming in at the right value and at the right cost. We need to make sure that we cut out waste, reduce corruption. Those are all things that have to be dealt with, and that's what the new government is struggling with.
President John Dramani Mahama and former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has disclosed that his push for digitalization during his tenure faced ridicule from political opponents. Speaking at the 27th Annual Conference of Beyond Borders, a myth or a mandate for Africa's progress at Harvard University, he noted that digitalization laid a foundation for economic growth and helped address everyday challenges. Despite initial doubt, Dr. Bawumia maintained that digital transformation remains essential for Africa's economic progress and global competitiveness.
Digitalization as Vice President was the subject sometimes of ridicule by political opponents, but I stuck to my vision and set out to use digitalization to solve some of the everyday problems faced by Ghanaians, and in so doing build an engine for economic growth and job creation. However, I must state that we chose the path of digitalization not for its own sake. Our focus is on digital technology that can solve our problems. At this stage of our development, we are not looking to have driverless cars or humanoids, for example. We want technology that can solve our problems in agriculture, health, education, access to credit, the payment system efficiency, public service delivery, revenue mobilization, and so on. Ladies and gentlemen, before the start of this journey, digitalization was not part of our mainstream development equation. It was largely seen as a peripheral concern, not central to the country's national development agenda. My focus on digitalization as Vice President was the subject sometimes of ridicule by political, but I stuck to my vision.
You heard the former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Away from that to some health stories now. The outbreak of cerebrospinal meningitis (CSM) in the Upper West region has resulted in 16 deaths, with over 129 suspected cases and 22 confirmed infections. Health officials attribute the rise in fatalities to misdiagnosis, delayed treatment, and high medical costs. Addressing the media, Upper West Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Damien Puyugri, stated that all districts except Sisala West and Wa East have reported cases, with the last outbreak occurring in the Laura district.
16 deaths. Of the 16 that died, 13 of them have been confirmed to be strep pneumo, that is meningitis. 2 are still under investigation. 1 turned out to be negative. Currently, all the districts apart from 2, that is Sisala West and Wa East, have reported at least a case. The last district to join was Laura district, the Honorable MP is coming from. Unfortunately, it's one of the ones that we lost. And so the health workers are doing their best to encourage early reporting. Those who reported early were treated successfully and discharged. And going forward, all who come in early, when you have not become unconscious, the chances are that with all this support coming, first from the Minister of Health, and now from the Right Honorable Speaker, we're going to ensure that people do not die.
You heard Dr. Damien Pungwiri. He is the Upper West Regional Director of Health Services. Meanwhile, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has contributed medical supplies to the region, assuring of parliamentary support in curbing the outbreak.
There's none of us who is dozing off or sleeping. It is something that we believe we should start working to do away with forever. As they said, if it's changing its form, its nature, its size, and all the tricks unknown to man. If not, this is not the time we're expecting this onslaught. But here we are on a serious attack by the enemy. And so we'll do all we can to support you, the health workers in the region and in the sector. This is just the first. As we go back, we'll look for more.
You heard the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin. Still on health, the Ghana Health Service has reiterated its dedication to controlling the spread of cholera and cerebrospinal meningitis in affected areas. This comes after Tobinco Pharmaceuticals donated medical supplies to support the service's efforts. Speaking to the media, Director General Professor Samuel Kaba Akoria assured that the donated supplies would be distributed to regions battling the outbreaks to enhance treatment and prevention measures.
I actually think that every little thing counts because as long as it will help treat a patient, it counts. And I think that until we go through them, we will not be able to really say they are enough or it's little. But I think every little help is extremely important to us. The most important thing will be cleanliness. We want people to clean their environment, wash their hands before they take any food. And sanitation is part, The two major things that we should be looking at is water and sanitation. And once we are able to do that, if you do remember, if you recall very well, during COVID, we spent almost a year or two with COVID, but with our cholera outbreak, because at the time everybody was clean. At the time, people used to wash their hands very well before they go feeding. So that is the call I'll put on to the people of this country.
You heard the Director General for the Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba Akoria. Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers COPEC is calling for decisive action to curb the depreciation of the cedi, which often erodes the benefits of fuel price reductions when global petroleum prices decline. Now, this comes after fuel prices drop in the second pricing window of February following 3 consecutive increases earlier this year. Total Energies has already reduced the price of petrol and diesel to 15 cedis, 99 pesos per litre, down from 16 cedis, 15 pesos in the first pricing window of February. Here's Executive Secretary for COPEC, Duncan Amwa.
Once there's product availability and there's no pressure within the supply-demand cycle, then you can have, some competitive prices on the market that would ensure that pump prices do not inch up. Again, I have indicated the managers of the currency probably getting something right. And so the cedi is no longer on that streak of depreciation. If that should continue and BOST under their new leadership is able to live up to their bill, and clearly we can have also some sustained reductions at the pumps. The first 2 months of the year, fuel prices globally have been favorable. We were not lucky because of certain factors like I indicated. International pressure and then again the city's run of depreciation. But the bid seem to have reversed now. So BOSS would only need to step up their efforts at contributing to product security. Once that is done, we are quite certain that we can have some stable prices and probably further reduction.
Duncan Amwa is Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers COPEC. Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has issued a formal wanted notice for former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The notice that has been put up on his social media pages reads, name Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta. And the statement has description. So you have date of birth, age, gender, eye color, hair color, distinguishing marks, complexion, possible locations, and then the reasons for this declaration have been stated. Reasons: this suspect is wanted to answer charges in respect of several cases, including strategic mobilization GRA contract, termination of ECG BXC contract, National Cathedral payments, ambulance procurement contract, and tax refund account utilization. Now, the office goes ahead to say that anyone with information on the whereabouts of this individual should alert the office by calling or sending a WhatsApp to some numbers that have been listed on the statement. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio in Adabraka, Accra. Please log on to citynewsroom.com where we have more stories for you. I am Ajwa Tinkrama Domina. Many thanks for your company. Good afternoon.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959.